So we'll go ahead and get started. All right, got folks from Georgia, Dana Kelly from Frederick. Hello, Dana. Laguna Beach. Oh gosh, that's got to be nice. Union City Police Department, Las Vegas, Nevada, Santa Monica, Owasso, Oklahoma, Mirage, Arizona, Timnath, Colorado. So literally, let's see, we got one coast covered. There's Colorado. And I know we have someone on the line. Beth is from Jacksonville. So, oh, there we go, Nelson County, North Dakota. So I think we got the country covered. We'll go ahead and get started. This week, well, actually, let me do all the due diligence pieces here. If you want to learn more about what we do or who we are or what we're about, you can check us out on our website at evidencemanagement.com. You'll find resources there that will hopefully help you do your job better and understand things a little more deeply. I'd like to point out our standards and best practices, particularly if you're curious about the right thing to do or what you need to do as an operation with respect to managing your evidence. Our standards and best practices section is a great place to start to give you an idea of where to go. Would also like to point people to our Facebook community forum on the Facebook. If you're not on Facebook, this is probably not the place for you, but our goal, one of our goals with our podcasts or webinars or whatever you want to call this, our Facebook forums, our training classes, one of the things that we're passionate about is trying to connect people to other evidence custodians. That's why we try to invest heavily in state associations, because that is really one of the best resources for evidence custodians out there are the people right next door to you, or at least people dealing with the same issues that you're dealing with in your area. So the Facebook community forum is there designed to provide a place, a community for evidence custodians to discuss things, solve problems, and you can find it right there on Facebook. I'd also like to point out that this online training, what we do here at the Evidence Management Institute, is made possible through our partnership with Tracker Products. You can learn more about Tracker Products. They are an evidence management software company, so you can find out more about Tracker and what they do by looking at their website. And they're kind of, as you'll find out today, they are responsible for keeping our lights on, but they're also partnering with us to bring training to you. And that's our topic for today, is changing the way we think about evidence management training. I really thought the Revolution Begins Now was a very dramatic way to talk about it, but it's not really that dramatic a thing. But I think it is important that we change the way that we think about evidence management training. That was important for me and James as a training company, and for you as evidence custodians. In order for us to accomplish our objective, we have to start thinking a little differently about what we do and how we deliver it. And I hope that we found something this year that will resonate and will be successful. So we'll find out in 2023. So what are we talking about today? We're talking about a new way of training, or a new training model. It's probably not a new way of training. Training is not going to change that much. You go, you learn something, you incorporate it, and that's training. So we're not changing training in that sense, but we are trying to change the way training is delivered and the way it is resourced or accessed by evidence custodians. So we'll be sharing some of our 2022 training events that are already kind of written in stone and things that we have planned out. We'll be announcing those and also discussing how we plan on getting people registered for those training events. We'll also talk about some 20 and 22 events that we've got planned for the calendar year and next time on the Evidence Show. So just to go back 4 years ago, well, let's go back 10 years ago. 10 years ago, I think I was with the State Evidence Association on their board and really loved working with that group of people and decided that I wanted to do things differently. So I moved to a different organization that was nationwide and wanted to do things differently. So still in the business of trying to solve a very old problem. And at EMI, particularly me and James, we're both extremely passionate about evidence management. And we see the same problems, the same issues over and over and over again. So rather than trying the same old approach to fix the same old problem, we're trying something new. And we have no idea whether it's going to be successful or whether it's going to fall flat on its face. Uh, but I did want to start by any of you in the audience, if you're thinking about starting a training business in law enforcement, I have a couple of suggestions to you. One, be a zealot. Be an absolute zealot with respect to the area in which you are training. Both James and I are incredibly passionate about evidence custodians and training people and making sure that we're taking care of evidence and doing the right things with our evidence because it's important, because it has value. So we check that box. Step number two would be choose an area from your wheelhouse. James has got years and years of evidence room experience. I've got years of evidence room experience and training experience and law enforcement supervision experience. So we check that box. The third little thing that I would suggest is choose a particularly well-funded niche within law enforcement. Anything with Velcro or guns or things that go boom or cars, forensic science, pick something in that kind of wheelhouse and you'll probably be all right. You can also choose an area that police chiefs and other law enforcement leaders really get and understand. Now you can do all those four things and probably be successful. But if you don't check all those four boxes, you're probably going to have to try to do something different. And that's where we find ourselves here in 2022. And our goal is to teach people the right thing to do when it comes to managing evidence, to help people create sustainable, effective, efficient evidence operations and bring that to their agency and build organizations that really manage evidence well and successfully. And one of the things that we found, and this should have been no surprise because we've both been in this arena for a long time, is that when we're trying to get people to come to training classes, we hear very similar things over and over and over again, that our agency either can't or won't fund, won't allow us to go to training. Either we can't cut loose of the people because we don't have enough people, or we can't afford it, or they're not going to pay for it. And you would be surprised how often that happens across the country. And when you really look from my perspective and from James's perspective, who are the people that we really, really need to reach the most? Well, they're probably those who are absolutely under-resourced or absolutely under-equipped and unable to attend training for any reason. So that's kind of what we wanted to start working on as a very specific problem. How do we reach those people? How do we make training more accessible? We started with an online training class, and we're going to revamp that this year. But there's nothing that really replaces in-person training, not just because of the deeper curriculum and the deeper dive into the subject material, but also because at a live training class, you can get immediate feedback from an instructor. If you don't understand something or how something might work at your agency, you can talk to an actual human being. But more important than that, you can speak to and hang out with and network with people that are in your area dealing with the same problems that you're dealing with. There is just absolutely no replacement for that. So our goal in 2022 is to provide free training and free certification. I really feel like our training class is the absolute best training model or training class, training curriculum for law enforcement evidence custodians. We come at it from a very different angle. We're trying to help people solve problems. We're not, we're very much geared towards training people the way adults learn and helping solve problems. So we really feel like this model is good, it's successful. We want to get it in front of as many people as we possibly can and help as many people as we possibly can in the process. Now, the trouble with that is that is a nice notion and everything, but you have to be able to fund it. So we've changed that particular model. We realized that local law enforcement agencies are not probably going to be able to send people to training that need training. So we decided to change the model a little bit. So we're partnering with industry, and we're partnering with very specific industries that have a vested interest in supporting you in your efforts, but also getting in front of you and seeing evidence custodians up close and talking with evidence custodians. It just makes sense. And our primary partner right now is going to be Tracker Products. We're working with bringing on other people from other areas and other vendors within the law enforcement community. But right now, we're budgeting our training resources based on what we will be provided from these vendors. And that's who's going to pay for the training. So it's not free training. It's going to cost somebody something. But we're hoping that our industry partners will take up those costs so that we can provide free training to you, the evidence custodian. We think that's a model that could take off. And that's why we want to be very diligent in partnering with industry, but also state associations. Because I think there is a definite benefit in a state association being able to offer free training to their membership and answer and deal with state-specific issues in a format that doesn't cost anybody anything. So we're trying to partner with associations and partner with industry to meet the needs of this very niche market. And that's our goal in 2022. Like I say, it could fail absolutely. We don't know. So our word for the day, because this can get a little discouraging. And I was thinking, you know, your job as an evidence custodian can also be fairly discouraging. But when you think about what you're doing in that room and how critical and important it is that you maintain evidence appropriately, maintain chain of custody so that it is useful. It's useful to convict the guilty, to exonerate the innocent. It is useful as evidence. In order to maintain its utility and usefulness and integrity as evidence, then you've got to keep doing what you're doing. And I've been in a lot of property rooms across the country, and it can be daunting. And it can feel hopeless. But that doesn't mean it's not important. And we really feel like we're kind of in the same boat. We're rowing in the same boat with you. So my words for the day for myself and for you as an evidence custodian is, if it's really important, keep trying, even when it doesn't make sense. So that's what we're doing. James and I are trying to provide training, put it out there, get it in front of people, even if it doesn't necessarily make sense. We'll find out at the end of this year. Like I say, it is better to burn out than fade away, in the words of Neil Young, and we're gonna take him up on that. Also, be afraid, but do it anyway. I know that many of you are probably sitting in an evidence vault or an office adjacent to an evidence vault, and you just got a huge mess that constantly kind of just keeps growing, and that fear just keeps growing, and it seems insurmountable. It seems like something that cannot be overcome. That fear is real. Don't worry about that. That's true. It's legitimate. What we do want to continue doing is keep working at it. I mean, it's something that, regardless of how we're feeling, it is worth dealing with. So that's not all that to say. In 2022, we've got some live dates. We would love to see you there if at all possible. So far, we've got definite confirmations. James is great at work in the state of California, and his work in California has paid off. He's also, I'm in Texas, and he actually helped set up the Texas class. So we're going to be in Houston, Texas, in the Harris County. Boy, I just drew a blank. Houston, Texas. Let's just leave it at Houston, Texas for right now. April 19th and 20th. That's where we're going to kick off our training year in April. We'll be in the Harris County area. And this one's where we get a little less. We're going to partner with MAPE, the Missouri Association for Property and Evidence. It is probably the newest evidence association in these 50 states. And we're going to work with MAPE in hosting a training and putting on a training in the Kansas City, Missouri area, or Kansas City, Kansas, depends on which side of the river you're on. either first or second week of May. We don't have those completely firmed up, but we'll be in Kansas City, May 10th, May 17th, right in that wheelhouse. And that'll be an event that we put on with MAPE. And then we've got 4 dates in California. California, I don't know if you've looked at a map, but it's a large state. Texas is also a large state, but California is a large and long state. So we're trying to get to Southern California, the middle part of California, and the northern part of California. We try to hit all 3 of those areas just because there's a need out there. So July 6th and 7th will be in Folsom, California, near the capital of, I forgot the capital of California. I was just there last week. Don't know. If it comes to me, I'll say something. And then the next week we're going to be in Paso Robles, California, and we're going to spend a week in Coronado, California. Coronado is near San Diego. It's an island off of San Diego. It's a beautiful place, and we're going to do a basic evidence training class there and an advanced training class on Coronado Island in California. So we'll round that out right now with a class that we've got planned in Atlanta, Georgia, actually Cobb County, Georgia. So those are the classes we have confirmed. If you're in one of these areas or interested in attending a class in one of these areas, we would love to hear from you. We don't have registration up, but these classes will include training, materials, and certification, and there is no cost to your agency or to you as a participant in order to attend these classes. Now, in order for these to be successful, we got to get a lot of people there. And so we're going to cap these classes at 50, so because we have to set a budget somewhere. And so we're at venues where we can accommodate 50 people and host a class and bring materials and all that fun stuff to the training site with us. So hopefully we will have 50 people in each of these classes. And if we have more interest than we have seats, we will start a waiting list. But in order to provide this training and to do it for free, we're going to have kind of an online application process where your agency will agree to send you to training and you agree to attend the training, because what we can't do is have 100 people sign up for a free training class and then 3 people show up. So there is going to be a little incentive in order to ensure attendance. We're also going to have to limit these training classes to 3 people from a particular agency, just so we don't get 50 people from one major metropolitan area. So as we'll be sending out an email, everyone that signed up for this class, you'll get an email about the registration process and the training dates. As soon as that becomes available to you, or as soon as it becomes available to us, we will make it available to you. So we're also in the planning stages of a few more classes that we would love to do. In June, we would love to be in the Denver, Colorado area. We've had some preliminary discussions with CAPIT there in Colorado. We're hopeful to bring training to the Denver area in June. We will also be in the Columbus, Ohio area in August. So if you're in the Ohio area, these are the places where we're planning on being right now. September, October, we're talking with some folks in Florida. We would love to do 2 classes in Florida. Our goal is to hit both sides of the state, the East Coast and the other coast, the Panhandle, the Emerald Coast. We would love to do classes in Florida at either end of the state. We've been in the middle of the state recently. We're trying to get to the edges of the state. And then we're going to do another training class in Indiana in September, ideally somewhere around the Indianapolis area or somewhere central in the middle of the state. We've also had a couple of folks, actually one area, Oregon, so in the Pacific Northwest. So I'd love to go there too. So we're going to have to limit things this year to a pretty limited schedule, no more than 12 or 13 classes, just so we can make sure that we are able to support those 10 to 13 classes. But that's kind of where we're going to be at. We will continue to put out information as we have it available. And we are hopeful that there is interest out there in attending these classes. We think it's valuable, but we'll find out here in a few months, I would say. So a couple of other fun things with respect to training. One of the classes that we're going to have on Coronado Island in August is an advanced evidence custodian workshop. And we're going to walk through some training that is designed and intended for people that have been evidence custodians for a while, and talk about specific problem solving tools and techniques that you can employ at your agency and dealing with things that are just slightly out of the norm. And it seems like every evidence room, regardless of size, you have at least one or two items every month that come in that you just don't know what to do with, or you have a situation that comes up that you've never dealt with before. We're going to try to put some practices in place for problem solving, some things that will work to solve problems that meet those kind of outlier things, the things that just come up that you'll never deal with again. Give you some tools and strategies to deal with those. We're also planning still on doing our ETO program, Evidence Training Officer Workshop, in the fall of 2022. And we'll also be revising our online curriculum, and hopefully the new curriculum will be out in fall of 2022. You can still take our online class. That's still available on the website. If you go, that class, that test is still online and available. We won't take it down until we replace it with something new or something better. And I had someone ask me the other day, what's the difference between your online class and your 2-day in-person class? I thought that was an excellent question, and it is worthy of an answer here on a time when we're talking about training. The online class was intended for, well, it started because we couldn't go to training when the whole world shut down during the pandemic. There just weren't training places to go to because everyone was isolated. But we still had training classes we had to schedule or had to cancel. So we wanted to put something out there, a resource that people could use, and also a resource for people that weren't able to go to training for whatever reason, to provide some free, high quality training online. Our online class is 7 hours, and our 2-day class is obviously 16 hours. The 2-day the online curriculum is pretty significantly abridged. We try to cover a wide base of topics that are important for people to know and understand, but we really believe that training happens best in the context of a classroom. It's difficult, maybe it's just because I'm old, but I don't learn as well from the internet unless I'm watching fly tying videos on YouTube. Those are about 4 minutes long, and those are incredibly helpful and instructive. There's lots of stuff on YouTube, but we're not talking about fly tying, and we're not talking about restoring an old drill press. Evidence custody is a much broader topic, and it's a much deeper topic than either of those issues, so it requires a lot more in-depth training. The 2-day class is a much fuller, more deeper curriculum that covers every aspect from cradle to grave, from submission through disposition. And it also provides, again, that in-person context, that actually dialogue with instructors and meet people next to you, to network with folks. I just don't see live training being replaced by online training unless the world shuts down again. So that's why we really believe that online training is a much better way to do things than online. We'll still do it, but we will be there. So couple of notes. Oh, let's talk about 2022 stuff. With a couple of these classes, the Indiana class, the Ohio class, and we're going to swing down to Kentucky as well. We've got some interest from folks in these different areas that want to start state associations. So wherever there's a training class in Kansas or Indiana and Ohio, we will be hosting a 22 in 22 event, which means we're going to have an opportunity for folks to come together and gauge interest in whether they want to form their own association in that particular state. We cover the costs. Again, our industry partners like Tracker Products help us cover the costs to meet these needs in these areas, and we help you get set up, we help you file, we help you get funded, and then we pretty much, it's a turnkey operation. We don't have any involvement in it after the fact. Our goal is to just create these associations because we believe that they're important and we believe it makes sense. So going back, I mentioned a couple of areas we'd love to do Florida. We'd love to do Oregon. We'd love to do Colorado. Some of those are still in process, but honestly, the first place that makes sense, we would like to get out there and get something on the books so we can firm up our training schedule and make sure that we are budgeted appropriately and that we can provide the training that we are intending to provide. So we'd love to hear back from you. If you're in one of those areas, please get with us, especially if it's an area where we haven't got firm dates or a firm commitment from a particular entity. So all that to say, training is going to look different. We're trying to do it for free. We believe in the importance of what you do, and we want to support that. And I got the date wrong on this next episode thing, so don't pay any attention to that at the bottom of the screen. But we will be back next month with episode 3. We promised you a cliffhanger musical event today, but we just didn't have time. So if there are any questions about training, please type those in the box below. I'll get to those as I can, but that's what we have for this afternoon. It is, I can't even tell what time it is. So if you're interested in training, let us know. Send us an email at info.evidencemanagement.com. If you're looking for one of those classes or interested in one of those classes, we will definitely be sending out a mailer with the registration link to each of them, to everybody on this list. If you're interested in hosting in one of those target locations, let us know. So, got one in South Florida. All right. We would love to. Oh, where's the cliffhanger? Yeah, the cliffhanger, that's going to have to wait. That is the cliffhanger. The cliffhanger is, it was supposed to be last time. The true cliffhanger is that now it's being pushed to the next time. So, that's pretty much it. All right, folks. We look forward to seeing you live and in person. I think I've clicked the button that is going to do something weird with my computer by accident. So if you have questions, if you have concerns, if you have issues, if you want to know something more about our training or what we do, please get with us. We'd love to have you train with us in 2022. I'm going to hang up, and you have a great week, and we'll see you next month.